Hi guys, my name is Caitlin. Welcome back to my channel. Your 20s is a notoriously challenging time in your life. You're an adult for the very first time and you're able to make adult decisions that impact the rest of your life. For the majority of your life, you have other people make decisions for you. However, this is a time in your life where you get to grab your life by the reins and really drive it in the direction you want it to go into. There's a lot of ups and downs in your 20s. A lot of people have a love-hate relationship with their 20s because it's so fun, but it's also really, really difficult to navigate. I've had some of my most fun moments in my 20s, but I've also had a lot of sad moments as well. Yes, there's a lot of sad moments, but also you're changing, you're growing, and this is ultimately necessary for the next stage in life. You're in such a unique place in your life where you have the freedom and independence to choose what you want for yourself, but also at the same time, you're still young and you can still make mistakes here and there, and it doesn't really matter or impact a lot of big things for you. However, I have just turned 29, so I've spent 9 years in my 20s, and after reflecting on the past 9 years, there are some things I wish I knew ahead of time so I didn't have to learn them the hard way, because some things, if you know them sooner, then you can leave your 20s feeling more accomplished and better about the 10 years that you've spent here. So these are the 9 things I wish I had known sooner. The first lesson that I learned is just how valuable your time actually is. When you're young, you feel like you have so much time in the world and you kind of feel like things don't really matter that much, not realizing that you actually don't have that much time. So if you get the urge to do something, if you want to dye your hair, if you want to change your job, if you want to relocate, just get up and start doing it. You can always change your mind later, but it's better to do it now and to give yourself the freedom to explore before you waste all of this time and then it's kind of too late. The next thing that I learned is that it's the little decisions that you're making every single day that actually impact your life. When I was younger, I remember thinking that making big decisions for myself was going to change my life. Like which city I lived in, where I went to school, my major. I thought all of these things were going to drastically impact the direction of my life. And little did I realize that it's actually not the big decisions that you make that drastically impact things. It's the little decisions that you're making every single day that actually impact your life. So yes, you can choose a really good major. You can say, hey, I'm going to be a mathematician, so that's going to be my major. But at the end of the day, once you graduate school, and if you're not doing internships in that, if you're not actively networking with people in those fields, you're not going to get a job doing that thing. I was a communication major in school, and I now work as a data analyst. And that's not to say that I regret anything, but it just goes to show you that the big decisions that you're making don't impact things as much as you think that they do. The next lesson that I learned in my 20s was probably the most fun lesson that I've learned, but this is the time to experiment, to explore, to relocate, to travel, to date different people. You should be trying all of the different flavors of life. There is so much going on in this world and you get to explore it. So make sure you take advantage of that and you actually do that. I would recommend that we do this at all periods of our life, but I also understand that some people really want to raise kids. Some people really want to get married, and sometimes you don't get to do those things when you're in that period of life. So definitely take advantage of it now while you can. Live it up, have fun. This is your 20s, so there's going to be a lot of crappy moments. So also take advantage of the fun ones as well. When I was in my younger 20s, I remember feeling like I cared so much about what other people thought of me. I was actually obsessed with it. I wanted people to like me so bad. I would morph my whole personality into something that I thought people might like. You can't control what other people think of you, and it's actually none of your business, and it's kind of irrelevant to you anyways. What I would tell my younger self is that there are 7 billion people in this world. Not all of them are gonna like you, and that's okay. You can just find a group of people out of those 7 billion people that will actually like you. And once you do that, you're gonna realize that those other people that didn't like you never mattered in the first place, and that their opinion's irrelevant, because who honestly cares? And that brings me to my next point. You can always start over whenever you want to. When things aren't working out or going your way, you can always start over. If you're not happy with something, you can always change it. And I wouldn't let the fear of starting over stop you from doing anything, because if you just start now and you give it a couple of years, I guarantee you're going to be in a much better spot overall than if you were to stay in an unhappy situation. The next lesson I learned in my 20s was to have better boundaries. And I know this term gets overused a lot. I think that sometimes people can weaponize their boundaries to justify being selfish. However, that is not really what I'm talking about. When you're in your 20s, you're going to be building your life from scratch. You're like a baby adult and you don't have anything figured out yet. So you're trying to rebuild your friend group, you're trying to relocate, figure out your career. Some of these things you might have figured out already. Other things you probably don't have figured out, and that's okay. That's so normal. You're gonna make a lot of changes and transitions in this period of life. I think when I was younger, I didn't understand that I couldn't dedicate the same amount of energy to my friends and family that I used to be able to dedicate to them. I think I'm the type of person that feels guilty if I can't give my all to a relationship. But what you have to understand is what you focus on grows. If you're in a new city and you're trying to create a new community for yourself, you have to stay in that city and do that. Like, you can't keep going back home because you have this event or you might miss that thing. You have to stay in your city, and that's how you make new friends. That's how you grow your career. That's how you find a relationship. If you keep going backwards, you never go forwards. So I would tell myself to have better boundaries, say no to more things, and if people make you feel guilty for it, just say, hey, listen, I'm building my life from the ground up. I'm not gonna have time for you all the time because I still have to build my own life. I'm starting from scratch, and that takes time. I think it's important to realize that once you're an adult, just in general, you're not gonna have time for every single thing, and that's okay. It is okay to say no, and you're gonna be much happier and much better off in the long run. I think an issue that I experience from time to time is the feeling of being stuck. And this is a universal experience, especially in your 20s, where you might feel stuck at your parents' house, you might feel stuck in a job you don't like, and this is so normal and so common, especially at this point in your life where you kind of feel powerless still and realizing where you need to make changes. When I feel stuck, an easy way to shift my energy, shift my perspective is to just put myself out of my comfort zone and do something new. So when in doubt, just switch things up, try new things, and put yourself out of your comfort zone. The next lesson I learned is that the decisions that you make for yourself actually do impact your life. I think when you're young, you kind of have this naivety about life and you don't really think things through or take the decisions that you're making for yourself seriously. The small decisions that you make every day impact your life the most, but also just in general, your life isn't a joke and you can really create a beautiful life if you choose to do that. I would tell myself that inaction is also action. So if you're unhappy with something and you're not doing anything to change it, then you're actively choosing that thing that you're unhappy with. Really take your life seriously. Think about where you want to be in 5 to 10 years, what kind of life that you want to have. Let yourself dream of a life that you want to live and go try to take the steps towards living that life. My final piece of advice, if there's anything that you could learn or take away from this video, it would be to follow your gut. We all have a gut feeling about things. We have a gut feeling when something's right and when something is not right. And a lot of the times we let other people guide our decisions because they have their own opinions about our lives and what we should do. A lot of the times our parents are trying to guide us in a career direction. Friends are trying to help us with our relationships. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. It matters what you think. You can feel when something is not right. It's not about what your parents think or what your friends think. It's about what's right for you. Also, you have to remember that your parents are giving you advice based on outdated information. Society changes so fast, and what worked for our parents back in the day isn't going to work for us now. And sometimes people are giving you advice based on their own fears and not something that is necessarily logical. Just remember that when you're making decisions for yourself. Overall, your 20s is very challenging, but they're also a lot of fun too. You should try your best to stay present, but you're also going to spend a lot of time in the trenches, and that's okay. But just remember that there's going to be a lot of fun times in between those really sad times as well. You're going to make it through it. Just look at this like this is a great time to sit there and think about what you want for your life and to try to build that. I hope you have a lot of fun times in your 20s and use it to the best of your abilities. You're in such a unique time and place where you have so much freedom and agency in your life, and you should really take advantage of that. Anyways, I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a great 10 years. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!